Hello and welcome once again to the Adventures of Midlife.com channel. Desert safaris are among the most exhilarating things to do in the Middle East. These adventures blend adrenaline, culture, and natural beauty. For midlifers like me, they are not just thrill rides, they are powerful reminders of resilience, curiosity, and the sheer joy of new experiences. I have done 3 desert safaris across 3 different countries so far, and here are some of the highlights. My desert journey began in Dubai during a stopover from South Africa. One afternoon while in the hotel, I spotted an ad for a desert safari and it piqued my interest. So I booked a late afternoon safari. I was picked up from my hotel in an SUV and I slid into the front seat because it was vacant. But as I would learn later, the front seat is prime real estate for experiencing dune bashing. We drove for a while and before entering the desert, we deflated the tires, which is a must for gaining traction on the loose sand. As modern Dubai faded into the distance, the vast undulating expanse of golden dunes took over. This was my first close view of the desert and I was thrilled. Our driver, whose name I have forgotten since, expertly navigated the sands. In the distance, I saw a towering dune and several SUVs, mostly white, racing across it at considerable speed. "Are you ready?" my driver asked. "Yeah," I replied. He revved the engine and charged towards the dune. As we crested the peak, I looked down and realized the dune base was at least 40 feet down, and my heart nearly stopped. I closed my eyes tightly as we plunged downwards towards the base at speed. And it wasn't a one-off. Sometimes our driver would tear across the flat terrain, the tires kicking up clouds of sand. Then he would head for another dune. My fellow travelers in the back seats quickly learned something. An ascent always meant a wild descent. So the wild ascents elicited screams, and just as we reached the top, the screams of fear and joy would become more intensive in anticipation of the descent.
Nice.
At one point, when we were just driving on the flat terrain, someone felt they were about to vomit. Fortunately, I had a motion sickness pill and I passed it on and then gave them a tip I had read somewhere. If you are feeling nauseating during travel, just don't look at close quarters. Look at the distance. Our driver took us on a number of cresting and descending. And then the sun dipped lower, the dunes shifted from golden to amber. We paused for photos, and my driver asked me whether I would give him my phone to take some photos. He took some photos, and they were really great. And this is something I have realized, that these guides really know how to frame the desert or any landscape, and they could operate almost any cell phone camera irrespective of whether they're Android or Apple. Years later, I returned to the dunes, this time in Oman during a three-country tour that also included Egypt and Qatar. I had booked a 3-day road trip to explore Oman's ancient forts, bazaars, a mud village, a desert camp, and the famous wadis or waterways. On the second day, we had planned to stay in a desert camp. But before reaching the camp, our guide Khair Edin took us dune bashing. After deflating the tires at a roadside shop, we entered a more rugged landscape, short trees, hardy shrubs, and even patches of grass. Occasionally, we passed modern concrete homes of Bedouins who have transitioned from traditional tents to more permanent structures. Khair charged up steep dunes and descended rapidly, occasionally turning mid-climb to drift sideways.
I don't think this now because before it was like this. But during summertime, because it was a lot of wind.
Yes.
Okay, so now it's like this.
Yeah, not this
Yeah. This more only like for small cars in a jeep. My car is so heavy. Let's try. Like adventure.
Yeah, sure.
I'll not do it my car. I know.
Yeah. Then
At one point, he paused at the base of a dune, analyzing its slope and sturdiness, and then he decided he wasn't going to dune bashing with that particular dune. He told me that he felt it wasn't safe for our 4x4,
Prepare now.
and that is the science behind dune bashing. The guide or the driver has to assess the terrain, speed, and the risk involved before deciding whether they want to take the plunge or not. We ended the day at a high vantage point, watching the sun set and the moon rise. The wind howled, the sky glowed orange, and I captured the moment in time lapse on my camera. As I mentioned earlier, Qatar was my final stop in that three-country tour. With just one afternoon left before I left for Canada, I booked a 4-hour desert safari near Doha. The tour included dune bashing, camel riding, sandboarding, and a visit to the famous Khor Al-Adaid inland sea. As we left Doha's gleaming high-rises, the landscape gave way to flatlands and low-slung homes. And halfway to the desert, we stopped for a camel ride. But I skipped it. Our guide was Naufan, who was originally from Kerala in southern India. He told me that he has done these tours for so many years, sometimes twice a day. He expertly gauged angles and speeds, giving us thrills without ever crossing into danger. There was at least once when he drove so close to the dune's edge, I felt that just a few inches to my right and the SUV might tumble. Of course, it didn't happen because it was all part of the adventure. Now Fern knew how to maneuver the car so close yet not to tip. And then it was over. After the dune bashing came sandboarding. It was fun, but I could have had more fun had I not extended my legs forward to act as a brake. We ended the day with a final desert drive towards the inland sea, where the desert sands meet water. On the other side of the edge was Saudi Arabia. If you are planning a desert safari, especially in midlife, here are some quick tips. Book with reputable guides or companies who prioritize safety and understand the terrain. Choose morning or late afternoon safaris to avoid the peak heat. Additionally, you can choose whether you want to see a sunrise or sunset. There are also late night safaris. Stay hydrated. Carry water and sip often. Bring motion sickness pills if you are sensitive to movement. Wear comfortable clothes and secure footwear. Apply sunscreen and wear sunglasses even on cooler days. Not every thrill needs to be pursued. I'm not a big fan of camel riding, for example, so I decided to skip that as well. Well, that's it for now for this edition of adventuresofmidlife.com channel. In this video, I talked about my 3 desert safari adventures in Dubai, Oman and Qatar. They taught me a lot about the desert landscapes and the people who live there. Of course, it was adrenaline pumping too. The drive up to the dunes and then driving down at high speeds towards the dune base. I hope you enjoyed the video and I will see you in another adventure. Until then, ciao.